Gary Veloric comes from a long line of entrepreneurs dating back to the 1890s. Both of his grandfathers built their own businesses, as did his father Daniel. Their spirit shaped Gary, helping him take forward a family legacy of entrepreneurship and innovation. When Gary enrolled at American University, he earned a degree in finance, accounting, and rock and roll. As a student, Gary co-chaired AU's concert committee, bringing major artists like the Police, Jerry Garcia, and the Pretenders to campus, and discovering his passion for building big ideas. Since graduating from AU, Gary has shaped and supported more than 100 businesses. He co-founded J.G. Wentworth, helped launch the career of the Zac Brown Band, and led a technology company that won 2 Webby Awards. For more than 20 years, Gary has given back to AU through service on the Kogod Advisory Council, as a commencement speaker, and as the proud namesake of the Veloric Center for Entrepreneurship. Today, as Gary is inducted into the Kogod Entrepreneurship Hall of Fame, we honor a lifelong disruptor whose vision and verve provide a roadmap for generations of innovators at American University.
To introduce our next inductee, please welcome to the stage David Cohen.
Okay, everybody. Dean Marshak, an all-esteemed AU alum and guest. I'm most pleased and honored to have been asked by my best friend Gary to help inaugurate Gary into the Kogod Hall of Fame. I take great pleasure in sharing the stage with Gary and to witness firsthand what Gary and Michael Veloric and the Veloric family have provided to Kogod with the Veloric Center of Entrepreneurship. It is beyond my wildest dreams and frankly Gary's as well. For many years after our graduation in 1982, when we both started out and were visited by various AU presidents and Kogod deans requesting contributions for various naming rights, the first thing Gary and I would say is we'd gladly donate money to have a urinal naming in our rights at the new Kogod Business School building. And by the way, where Kogod currently resides was originally the holy grail of concert venues on campus when it was then known as the new lecture hall. So where business students are now currently attending classes, labs, and lectures, Gary and I produce such classic concerts as the David Bromberg Band, Pat Metheny Group, Kingfish, Sonny Rollins, and one of our favorites, because it might have sold about 25 tickets, Buddy Rich and the Buddy Rich Orchestra. Don't ask us why we booked that one, but we did. Needless to say, besides the Gary and Nancy Veloric Lounge at Kogod, there is now, of course, the Veloric Center. Wow, Gary, I'm very proud of you. The most significant thing that came out of my 4 years at AU was the lifelong friendships that I've made. The aforementioned Gary Veloric is certainly on top of that list. We were roommates for 4 years, both on and off campus, and while we were possibly not as successful as Gates and Allen or Jobs and Wozniak, we did discover quite a few things during our college careers outside of the classroom that certainly helped propel us into our fairly successful professional business careers. So the Gary Veloric story is certainly an interesting and quite elaborate in its twists, turns, and tribulations. The bottom line is basically what you've already figured out for yourself. Gary is a genius in his lane of business and intricate analytical thinking. Is he perfect? Nope, far from it. He'll be the first to tell you that. Can he run a business from an operations standpoint? Hell no. But can he provide amazing insight and detailed financial advice and forecasts? Absolutely. No one reads a balance sheet like Gary. To watch him write and diagnose these pieces of paper is like watching Mozart write his magnus opus or Picasso paint his masterpiece. Business people, probably much smarter than Gary in other ways, are always amazed when Gary spews out comments and positive suggestions after reading their balance sheets. I witnessed this firsthand from my early days with him at AU and our time at Sub Concerts. Gary was negotiating detailed contracts with booking agents and musician management directly at the age of 19. He masterminded many of these plans and ideas to help raise funds for AU by means of producing off-campus concerts that we were able to secure, most of which were usually turned down by the AU administration. So instead, we just decided to hold on-campus concerts and have a hell of a great time in doing so. We did manage to promote a few amazing concerts off campus, including, as was said, Jerry Garcia Band, the Pretenders, and the Police, but these were off campus because we didn't have the venues large enough at AU to do the shows. This was well before the Bender Arena came into existence, or as we were originally led to believe, to be called the Khashoggi Center, but that's another story. While still in college, Gary was offered to produce concerts for one of the most significant promoters at the time, who was based in New York, Ron Delsner. Delsner was in competition with Celador Concerts here in DC, so he couldn't necessarily book the shows himself, so he hired Gary to promote the shows under the guise of RD Festivals. In doing so, Gary successfully promoted the B-52s and again the Pretenders. Gary certainly was heading in the right direction with the music business, which was and still is one of his great passions. Another interesting point about Gary's AU career is something that both Gary Cohn and Veloric mentioned last year at Kogod ceremonies. Gary's insightful business acumen is mostly self-made and manifested. Gary was not one prone to college classes in the general sense. Rarely did he attend a class or crack a book until midterms or finals. He then proceeded to ace the test and move on from there. Although, as Gary himself pointed out at his own Kogod commencement address, when he received his honorary doctorate in 2013, his parents did finally get a chance to watch him walk and receive a diploma, because back in '82, he actually didn't have enough credit to graduate on time. Those of us present, company included, that spent copious amount of time in classes and nights in Jack and Dorothy cramming for our exams were less than thrilled. Right after college graduation, one of the things I was most impressed with was that Gary elected to start off on his own in Mystic, Connecticut, with a partner and try his hand at the concert booking agency. He did well, but it was a tough road to hoe, and a very difficult decision he made was he was pressed to go back to Philly and begin his career at family business, Geriatric and Medical Centers, which he did after a year in Connecticut, but very begrudgingly. Gary certainly made the right decision to head back to Philly as he helped propel and guide this business into the next phase of their successful run for the next 2 decades. After leaving GeriMed, Gary co-founded J.G. Wentworth and invented the entire structured settlement platform while fighting many insurance and annuity companies along the way. Great success follows, as you all now know. It's my money and I want it now. 877 Cash Now are all infamous late-night commercials embedded in our collective memories. But do any of you know how the name J.G. Wentworth came into being? Well, of course, another Veloricism. J.G. stood for a Jew and a Goy trying to sound waspy. Perfect. After Wentworth came Red Stripe Playing Group. Under this guise, Gary successfully brought labels to mostly in the country music genre. Zach Brown was an early artist that was on Gary's label that went on to do great things and win Grammys. Speaking of the Grammys, Gary and Nancy served on the board of Music Cares for many years, and all I can say is that my wife Lisa and I have had many wonderful memories of Grammy weekend with Gary and Nancy in LA due to their tremendous generosity. One of the many great things I can say about Gary and Nancy is their love of a good party and having a great time with family and friends. The rest, as they say, is history. There are countless other business ventures that Gary has been involved with to great success, including real estate projects around the country and providing venture capital to deserving upstarting candidates that Gary deemed of interest. Gary is certainly the poster child of a serial entrepreneur for sure, and his legacy will now remain in perpetuity here at his beloved AU. Gary, I love you, and I couldn't be more proud of you.
You guys might think that's David Cohn, but everybody knows him as Murray. So thank you to American University, the Kogod School of Business, the Hall of Fame Selection Committee, President Alder, and the other honorees. I want to congratulate them. But I want you to know the only reason I'm here is because it wasn't the first time I was fired. I was fired by Dean Marchek because I refused to be honored and be on the committee. So instead of listening to me, he decided to fire me. And the way I found out I was fired is when he told me I was going to be honored. I'm grateful to the professors who challenged me, the mentors who pushed me, and my family, because in entrepreneurship, the people closest to you take the risk with you. And to the students here today, I'm really speaking to you. When I was a kid, ABC's Wide World of Sports opened every Saturday with a line I can still hear in my head: the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat, the human drama of athletic competition. Every time I hear that, I think, that's entrepreneurship. Business and sports share something people don't talk about enough: The wins feel electric, and the losses, especially unexpected ones, can be crippling. If you're not careful, the agony of defeat doesn't just hurt, it can dampen your next victory before it even happens. I've experienced both many times. I've been writing a book about entrepreneurship from the viewpoint of a coach, because when the game gets chaotic, you don't need motivation, you need plays. I want to share a few of them with you. Play 1. Break problems into component parts. In 1991, I was asked to help save a nursing home in Philadelphia. It was in bankruptcy. Patients were already being moved out. A feasibility study said the business couldn't support its $2.5 million of debt. Everyone was waiting for a miracle. Instead, we questioned the assumptions and broke the problem down. Operations, staffing, cash flow timing, debt structure. One piece at a time. We eventually exited bankruptcy with more than $5.2 million in debt. Why? Because the issue wasn't too much debt. It was structure and timing. The solution wasn't magic, it was clarity. Most people don't fail because they're not smart. They fail because they're overwhelmed. When someone says, I have a problem, what they usually mean is I have a giant blob. Break the blob into parts, and solutions begin to appear. It's easier to deal with 100 raindrops than one flood. Play 2, find leverage. If you only earn what you personally produce, you've built yourself a ceiling. Leverage removes ceilings. Leverage can be people, systems, technology, capital, and partnerships. When I started my merchant banking firm, it was just my partner and me. We closed deals quickly and had cash in the bank. Instead of distributing it, we reinvested. We hired people, built systems, created an organization. For 3 years, I made less than I had at my prior job. That's the part nobody talks about. But leverage compounds. Leverage isn't about working less, it's about building something that works beyond just you. Play number 3. Take 24 hours before you hit send. This one sounds small, but it isn't. In business and in life, emotions run high. When you're angry or feel disrespected, your brain tells you to respond immediately. My rule is simple. Give yourself 24 hours between impulse and action. Write the email you want to send, the angry one, the clever one, the I'll show you one, and send it to yourself. The next day, reread it, and almost every time, you'll be grateful you didn't send it. One emotional moment can undo years of reputation. As American University prepares for the next generation of business leaders and entrepreneurs, my family and I are proud to support this mission through the involvement with the Veloric Center for Entrepreneurship. Since the center's launch in the fall of 2023, more than 2,000 students have participated in programs, panels, courses, and competitions. Our Student Startup Incubator has helped launch ventures generating millions in revenue and securing millions more in outside investment. These accomplishments have contributed to national recognition, including a number 7 ranking among universities with fewer than 10,000 students. Tommy and Danielle, you've done a great job. I'm very proud of you. Entrepreneurship is the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat. You will experience both. Your job is not to avoid defeat. Your job is to learn from it and keep moving forward. Break the blob into parts. Build leverage. Pause before you react. Take the risk. Build something, learn from the losses, and celebrate the wins. Because in entrepreneurship, just like in sports, the only way to score is to get in the game. Thank you.